Our fifth lesson for this evening comes from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 2, verses 1 through 7. St. Luke tells the birth of Jesus. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria. And everyone went to their own town to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger, because there was no guest room available for them. The word of the Lord. My dear Christian friends gathered here on Christmas Eve, when do you think was the first time that Mary and Joseph had a moment for themselves when they could just be honest with themselves and say, holy moly, this has been a crazy 9 months. It's been a lot, not just with the travel and everything, but just the relationship that they have found themselves in. Think about it for Joseph for a second. Joseph's clearly in love with Mary enough to be able to bring her back to Bethlehem, right? But he's also showing that he clearly loves her in multiple ways. Joseph, as far as he can tell with Mary, Mary has gone out. She has gotten pregnant. She knows the Father's name. She knows that the Father's name is now God, and now she's saying that this is going to be God's son. That's a lot, I think, if you're Joseph, to take on all at once. I don't know what his friends were saying to him about all of this, or what even he was thinking about the relationship at this time. Do you think he's starting to feel anxious about the future of it and where it's going to go as a family? He gets reassured by an angel that says, all is well. This is exactly as he says, and this is all coming after he had in mind just to divorce her quietly, to save her some of the shame, save her some of the guilt of what is eventually going to come her way. But he must be feeling anxious about what's going to happen in his immediate future. That's just Joseph's side. For Mary, it's a whole different set of circumstances. For Mary, she is, from all we can tell from biblical histories, that she is maybe in her late teens, maybe early 20s. She is about to have a baby out of wedlock in a society that does not let women work outside of the home. Can you imagine the glances that she's getting from all of the ladies gathered around Galilee and Nazareth, all the stuff that they're saying behind her back, or even right to her at that moment? Do you think she's a little bit anxious about what is going to happen in the next couple of months with Jesus? And that's happened all before Jesus has been born. Once Jesus is born, there's going to be all kinds of different circumstances too. But now, Caesar has issued a census that everyone needs to return to their hometown, so Mary goes along with Joseph, and Joseph has to go back to Bethlehem, which is about a 45 to 50-mile walk, pregnant for Mary. Now they have to get all the way over there. And now Joseph, he's a part of the descendancy of King David, but that obviously hasn't earned him any favor. Hasn't earned him wealth to be able to have enough money for a hotel or an inn. And obviously his family doesn't think very much of him either, because they don't have an extra room available for him. And the best he can do is find the comfort suites of the Barnyard Inn in Bethlehem. Do you think they're a little anxious about what's going to happen in the immediate future? All of this worry and all of this outside noise on top of them. Governments that want taxes, family members that don't have enough room for family with a pregnant family member, reputations that are being completely tarnished. All of this noise, all of it's not going to go away either, no matter what happens once Jesus comes out. Is it ever going to go away for them? Start to sound familiar to the life that you're living? Last year, 43% of Americans said that they felt more anxious this year than they did the year previously. About 20% of Americans have some sort of medical diagnosis called clinical anxiety disorder. About 50% of people are on some sort of medications for either anxiety or worries or depressions. The younger you get, and lower the numbers and the ages get in Generation Z, the higher those statistics start to skyrocket. Start to sound more familiar? Seems like in every single thing that we do, there's this undercurrent of anxiety that overwhelms every single decision that we make. We exhaust ourselves morning after morning because the first things that we have to do after we press the alarm on our phones is we have to go, we have to hurry, we have to be at work, we have to be at this place, we have to make sure the kids are over at school, we have to make sure we're at work on time. And if we don't have enough energy in the morning, what we can do then is we can just dump stimulants into our body. We can have as much coffee as we want, have as many energy drinks as we want. And as we get higher and higher and higher to be able to go, then once we crash, we have to be able to bring ourselves back down low, and we find different ways to do it. We know that alcohol is never too far from a gas station or a corner liquor store. We know that Netflix will have a show available for us for the next hour, or the next 90 minutes, or the next 2 hours, or the next 2.5 hours, or the next 3 hours, if we let it. We can scroll and scroll and scroll on social media, just curated just to the stuff that we want to see in our lives. If we need more satisfaction, porn will do anything that our spouse won't for us. And deeper and deeper, and shallower, we become easier prey for the tempter. And everything we do trying to block out all of this outside noise, all of this weariness, all of this nervousness, all of this anxiety. Sound familiar? For some of you, you know this anxiety-fueled life all too well, and you just want out of it. And you've heard all along that Christmas is the time when we're supposed to just let bygones be bygones. Family members are supposed to put issues to the side. We can get rid of all the corporate stuff away from the white-collar life, where we can finally take a little bit of reprieve from our blue-collar lifestyle. We can get rid of all of this. But you found that whenever Christmas comes around, it's always the same stuff. And you're sick of it. And you just want to be done with it. And now you're here. And now you're in this church. And for some of you, it took a strange amount of courage to be able to walk through these doors. You had to bypass all of the quizzical glances from family members or friends who ask what you're doing. Why are you leaving? Why are you all dressed up? Well, it's Christmas Eve. Why wouldn't I go to church? And what makes it harder is when they say, well, that's great. We've got chestnuts that are roasting on an open fire. We've got gifts that we are able to open once you get back. We'll even save some of the snacks that you especially love once you get back. You do you. We'll have our fun here. And it seems like their lives aren't affected at all by what this little baby in a manger has for them. But here you are. You're here at church on Christmas Eve, with all this other outside noise going on. And you want to know exactly what this little baby boy born in Bethlehem says he's going to do for you. Whatever your mess, whatever mess you've made for yourself, or whatever mess that someone else has made for you, whatever your sin, whatever your thing, Jesus has been born right into your story. And it's in this very temptations of a noisy and a stressed out and an anxiety-driven world that the writer to the Hebrews says that he was tempted in every single way and yet did not sin. And once this little baby born in Bethlehem is able to finally stop crawling and start to walk, what he does is he starts to go to people. He goes and he seeks out the people who hate, lament, and revile, and can't think of the next step that is going to happen in life. What he does is he goes and he speaks to the people that are addicted. He goes and he draws a line in the sand for the prostitute and the people who are throwing stones at the person who is the prostitute. What he does is he goes into the stressed out home of Mary and Martha and he says, Martha, Martha, pay attention to the one thing that matters. He pays attention to the woman at the well who has been ostracized and isolated from her entire community and makes her feel seen. He sees the lepers whose disease is everything that is what they are defined by in their community and in their life. And he heals them. He goes to funerals. He looks at grieving people in the eyes. He sees all of the consequences of sin, all of the consequences of the depravity that we have in this world, and his first instinct is not to run and hide from it, but his first instinct is to love it, and then to die for it. Right into this kind of world is Jesus born. The one that sounds a lot like yours. With all of its noise, with all of its chaos, with all of its disorder, what he says right into it is he says, I will be with you always. And I will bless you, and I will keep you, and I will love you, and I will forgive you. I want to be able to tell you that all of this outside noise is just going to go away tomorrow. But you all know that's not true. Tomorrow's Christmas, and then it's the 26th, and then Monday comes around December 29th, and you have to go back to the world that you were living in. But maybe tonight is the one night that you're able to take a little bit of reprieve from all of the other stuff that is going on in the world, and you can do what Mary and Joseph had a chance to do on this first Christmas Eve. With all the other stuff that was going on around them, their future ahead of them, their relationship status up in the air, all this other stuff around, all they could do when they were in the stables before the shepherds arrived is they could spend some time with Jesus. This baby who was going to be their identity, their hope, their future, their wonderful counselor, their mighty God, their everlasting Father, and their Prince of Peace. And then after Mary and Joseph were done swaddling this little baby in these white linen cloths, eventually once this little baby boy grows up, what he promises to do for Mary and Joseph and for every single one of you is to wrap you even tighter in robes of righteousness, size exactly for you, given for you at your baptism, that washed away all of your sins. And he wraps you as tight as possible in them, earned completely by his grace and mercy, freely distributed by faith, and sized exactly for you, because he knows you, and he loves you, and he wants to be your peace. So take your moment. Spend it with the Christ child. And take in all the promises that he says are for you. Because they are. And they're true. And they're just for you. Amen.